Would you guys believe me if I told you that Kai was homeless and had to live in a shelter? He grew up in that shelter, bro. I don't tell nobody that I still have shelter sheets in my crib in New York. When most people see Kai Cenat, they think of the money, flashy cars, icy jewelry, and millions of subscribers. But little do y'all know, Kai wasn't just struggling, he was fighting to survive. Kai wasn't even supposed to be here, bro. His whole odds were stacked against him. But even when life had him down, Kai always had that hustle. In this video, I'll be explaining to you guys how Kai Cenat went from broke to rich. Now, let's go way back to the beginning. Remember when I was saying that the chances of Kai being rich and famous were super low? Yeah, it was difficult. He was raised by a single mom who was trying to support him and his 3 other siblings. He already started life on hard mode. When they hit rock bottom, they had to live in different homeless shelters just to survive. They couldn't afford to have a good enough living environment to where they were all comfortable. When his family's life started to get together a little bit, he began attending Frederick Douglass Academy for high school. During this time, he started making YouTube videos. In his early days on YouTube, it was hard for him to gain subscribers, and he just didn't have much luck. He was trying different types of content, from Q&A sessions to reaction videos, but nothing seemed to stick. He often felt lost, unsure of what direction to take. At school, some people knew about his YouTube channel, including his principal. However, she said his stuff sucked. Can you believe that? My principal called my videos garbage because she found out I was doing it in school, and then she looked at my videos and called them trash. I will never forget that. When you actually think about it, that's kind of crazy. The person running the school and supposed to be motivating students is the same one calling the guy who's doing something outside the norm weird. Shouldn't that principal be applauding the student for trying something new? That's just ignorant hate. But Kai was not going to let that stop him. After graduating high school, he went to college and got a regular 9-to-5 job. I guess at the time, he just wanted some security. You know, if the YouTube stuff doesn't work out, at least he could get a decent job, have a family, and live a comfortable life. But that was always at the back of his mind. Kai knew that doing this YouTube stuff was either to get rich or die trying. When you're in your grind stage, that hunger is different. It's about whether you can maintain it or not. All he wanted to do was work, work, work. Once you get that in you, you can't stop. During this time period, he uploaded consistently and even managed to collaborate with a YouTuber named Phantom. This collaboration changed his life. Phantom and Kai became good friends, and Phantom introduced him to other YouTubers like Chris Next Door, Agent 00, Duke Dennis, and I'm Davis. Together, they created a YouTube group. Kai started to notice that the other creators were just like him. What separated him from them was that they took a risk, and they were now making a living off of YouTube. They weren't smarter, they weren't more talented, they just went all in. That's when it clicked for Kai. If they can do it, why not him? Let's not get it twisted, this was a decision weighing heavily on him for a long time. It's not like he just woke up one day and said, I'm going to drop out. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to bet on yourself, even if it means going against the grain. So yes, he officially dropped out of college. The college videos are what made his channel. He admitted it himself. But let me tell y'all something, when you know that something is holding you back from getting to the next level, you just have to sacrifice it. Don't get me wrong, he was going to miss college, but he came to the realization that it was actually holding him back in the long run. Off camera, it was just stressing him out, homework, having things coming up that took time away from focusing on his audience. If he knew that his dream could work, he was going to put it before anything. I don't blame him for doing that. As of 2024, collectively, people are watching 1 billion hours of videos a day, and 5 billion videos are watched daily. With YouTube generating around $4 billion in revenue every day, this is more reason to double down on that opportunity. As social media continues to expand, these numbers are only increasing. If you see that your YouTube channel is gaining traction to the point where it's making you enough money, especially more money than your full-time job, it's more reason to double down on it. Not everybody gets a chance to become a famous YouTuber. So even if all else fails, you can always go back to college. But that's not to say college isn't important. Obviously, have a backup plan. I'll leave it to Kai to let you know that if it's going slow, you've got to stay in college. I'm not going to lie, stay in school. If it ends up doing really well and things are taking off, don't waste your time in there. Make sure you have a backup plan. It's not like you can just do things without having one. Always think twice. It took Kai a long time to decide, but now that he was being paid from YouTube, he could finally live his dreams and do what he liked. At this time, Kai was mostly getting paid by YouTube ad revenue. They usually pay per 1,000 views, and the amount you get paid can vary depending on what type of content you post and what niche you're in. You could get anywhere between 50 cents to even $50 per 1,000 views. Kai's most viewed video on his YouTube channel has 22 million views. I'll leave you guys to guess how much money he made off that, but I'll cover that later in the video. Now, let's continue into the secret star that expanded Kai's career. That secret star is named Chris. Chris became Kai's cameraman right after he dropped out of college. I'm curious how he got to the point where he started working with Kai. It was during quarantine when Kai posted looking for a cameraman in New York. Chris swiped up and said, "Hey, I'm here." Kai was like, "Alright, pull up." He sent Chris his address, and Chris just pulled up. He explained the video, and they literally just got to work. This was one of the smartest things Kai has ever done. It helped Kai's channel blow up. Kai used to always film by himself, which made it harder to create the content he really wanted to do. Having a dedicated cameraman allowed him to explore new ideas and create more engaging content. Since that move, they've reached a wider audience and gained millions of views across platforms. If you manage to go to different countries like Asia and Africa, more specifically Taiwan, Ghana, and Nigeria, these millions of views have made Kai's channels hundreds of thousands of dollars. This was just a stepping stone, but there was something else that made Kai blow up even more. Kai was slowly building his team, kind of like a corporate business. A regular business needs its CEO, marketing manager, engineers, communications team, sales team, product team, and more. One person can only do so much. If you have different people focusing on different tasks, it makes a company or business work smoother, faster, and more efficiently. What made it smoother for Kai was to hire an editor. Editing is probably 60% of the hard work when it comes to being a content creator, and I can say that for a fact because editing these videos is time-consuming. Kai's new editor's name was CB Ryan. He has a YouTube video on his channel explaining the whole process of how he became Kai's editor. Kai basically called him and said that he wanted him on standby to be his editor. He told CB that he might need an editor, so just be ready. A week passes by, and then Kai ends up calling him and gives him a video. CB did the video for him, and Kai liked how he did it, which led to him becoming Kai's official editor. Not only did Kai have an editor now, but he also had a good one at that. YouTube has a thing called audience retention. To simplify it, the higher your audience retention, the more likely your video is going to show up on other people's recommended feeds, meaning you get more views. It's kind of like a positive feedback loop. If John likes this video and watches it all the way through, they show it to Susan. If Susan likes it, they show it to Jerry, and so on. In order to have a high watch time, you need an engaging YouTube video with lots of text and graphics. This isn't always the case for different niches and channels, but if you're making entertainment and personality-based videos like Kai, the editing helps a lot with storytelling and keeping things engaging, especially considering that as social media gets bigger, attention spans are dropping like crazy. CB's editing work helped Kai gain millions of more views. this isn't the only person that helped Kai get to the top. There's another piece to the puzzle, and that piece is Kai's thumbnail designer. Thumbnails are really important to YouTube videos, and if you don't have a good thumbnail, people won't click on your video. There's a thing on YouTube called CTR, which measures how many times people saw your video on their home feed versus how many people actually clicked and watched it. With those two metrics, you get a percentage. On average, you would like to shoot for an 8% CTR. So for every 100 people that saw your video on their home feed, 8 people actually clicked and watched the video. The higher the CTR, the more views you get because more people are clicking on your video. Kai was looking to increase his CTR by hiring a thumbnail designer. In early 2022, he set out to do that. This guy's name is Kinsey Creative. This dude is like the Picasso of YouTube thumbnails. As you can see by his work, it's very detailed and realistic. Because of how good these thumbnails were, it spiked a huge surge of engagement for Kai's channel. Just look at the difference between Kai's older thumbnails and Kinsey's newer thumbnails. No wonder why they perform so well. In December 2022, Kinsey showed a tweet showing the progress of when he started working with Kai. Because of how great the thumbnails were, they ended up gaining 153 million views and 993,000 subscribers, pretty much a million, in just the course of 8 months. Most people can barely even get 50 subscribers in a year. Talk about 1 million in 8 months. Even though Kinsey's thumbnails were amazing, we can't forget about how creative Kai was with his content. He's always doing crazy stunts in his videos and constantly uploading, which shows his work ethic. The type of content he produces always pushes the boundaries of what's possible. The reason why they're always pushing the boundaries is that Kai is always cooking up ideas. He has a super secret content wall in his room where he comes up with his best ideas. It almost got leaked a couple of months ago, but luckily it wasn't enough for the audience to see. I'm definitely sure this whiteboard is the reason why he came up with some of his biggest video ideas, like when he was doing the 7 Days in Prison stream, the Red Dead 2 stream, and his 30-day subathon that was non-stop, no breaks. He was streaming every single day, and those videos brought him so many views, millions, I'm talking about. Ultimately, Kai is the product. If you package it right and people like the product, aka thumbnail, title, all that stuff, then it's an instant success. And since I just mentioned millions, I think it's an appropriate time to talk about how Kai makes his money. Let's break it down. YouTube's got this thing called CPM, which is also known as cost per mil. It's just a fancy way of saying how much YouTube pays you per 1,000 views. It can range anywhere between 2 cents to $36, but this all depends on what niche you're in. The upper end typically has people that make finance, digital marketing, or education content because the people that pay for those advertisements have deeper pockets. They're willing to spend more money to get their audience to buy their product. These are typically finance firms, educational platforms, banks, and anything of that sort. If you're in the entertainment niche like Kai, based on a study I found, you're looking at a $2.74 CPM. Kai's most viewed video on his streaming channel has 22 million views right now. So if we do the math correctly, he would have made approximately $660,000 off of that one video. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money. If you combine all the views on Kai's main channel and second channel, it equals over 4.4 billion views. So if I'm doing the math correctly, off just ad revenue alone, Kai has made well over $12 million off his 2 YouTube channels. And this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. There are other revenue streams, merchandise, stream donations, subscriptions, sponsorships, and even revenue from Twitch. If we're talking about Kai's Twitch subs, he currently has 22,900. If we multiply that by the average price of a Twitch subscription, which is $4.99 a month, we're talking about an easy $600,000 every single month. Unfortunately, Twitch takes 50% of that, so we're looking at more around $300,000. Over the course of a year, that $300,000 turns into $3.6 million a year. So that puts Kai's net worth at around $15 million. I'm guessing it's close to $20 million now because he still gets money off donations, and I'm pretty sure he gets paid off some sort of merchandise and brand deals. Kai and the rest of the team were in a Fortnite commercial just recently. Fortnite commercials aren't cheap. Based on how big Kai is, I'm going to assume he charges anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 per sponsorship, with larger brands paying more than that. He's likely earning over $1 million a year off sponsorships alone. I checked all around the internet, and I don't think Kai has any proper merchandise right now. I guess he's just focused on content creation and not really the clothing. He used to have merch when he was a smaller creator, though. These are just guesstimate numbers, but let's see how much Kai makes off merch. Based on how many Twitch subs Kai has, he has 120,000. With that data, I'm guessing Kai has a loyal audience of 100,000 people that will willingly buy something from him. So let's say the average price of his t-shirt is $25. If all 100,000 of those loyal fans buy that t-shirt, that's a cool $2.5 million added to his pocket. And that's only one merchandise drop. He could do as many as he wants. We can't forget about his other assets, such as cars, clothes, and other valuable investments. He has a Lamborghini Urus that costs around $200,000, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan that costs about $500,000, an Audi R8 that costs around $200,000, and a Dodge Charger Hellcat that costs about $100,000. As far as real estate goes, he bought a really nice house for his family, which cost him between $3 to $4 million. With all this public information, this brings Kai's net worth to well over $23 million. That was a lot of math. If Kai went from nothing to something, I'm pretty sure you can do it too. Whatever you've got going on, focus on yourself. Whatever you want to do is definitely possible. Chase your dreams and don't take any of it for granted. And pray, legit have a close connection with God. If that doesn't motivate you enough, there was a study that said the creator economy could approach $500 billion by 2027. So there's even more money to be made. So, what's next for Kai? He says in the future he wants to dive more into acting. Let's say 10 years from now, where do you think you'll be in your life then? What do you think of this acting? I want to get into movies and do a whole bunch of acting for real, he says. And with that, I wish him the best of luck.